Nation, you're watching the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford, and we got a packed house today here at Nation headquarters. We got Frank, Tyler, Jay.
Woo! The big
Liam
man
in
is
the
here.
Background. Yeah, we got. Look at this panel. How you guys feeling for Game 3?
I'm feeling good.
Cautiously optimistic.
That's always your answer.
But that's a bad spot for you to be, because I think they play best when you are.
I'm nervous.
When
I'm
you're
nervous,
scared,
but
nervous,
I'm not like doom and gloom nervous.
Frank, give us
Pretty
the
normal fan feeling, though, isn't it? Like, if you're not feeling nervous or you're not feeling cautiously optimistic, like, you don't want to ever go in feeling overconfident.
No,
especially
never.
in the playoffs. No,
if you're
that's when
not
you'll get
nervous,
stunned.
something's wrong.
But I think the way they played in Game 2, Frank, should be giving Oilers fans like a reason to be optimistic.
A reason for hope, right? We talk all the time.
Hope will never die.
Yeah, and when you saw the response, and not a shock for anyone that's watched this team all season long, to see the way that they came back and played way cleaner in their own end. You know, we talked a lot about the injured guys the other day. Darnell Nurse looked way better. The whole team looked better. Mike Smith, shaky first few minutes again. Dialed in after that. And the way that they handled that forecheck was such a blueprint, I think, for Game 3.
And you wrote a piece over at dailyfaceoff.com if people want to read it, giving a lot of credit to Duncan Keith for that.
He was brilliant.
He hopped in a time machine.
He shaved 10 years off, and that's exactly why the Oilers brought him here. You know, there was so much talk about, why did you take this guy at his full cap hit? Could you believe that? And that $5.4 million right now, you're like, yeah, so what? There is no salary cap in the playoffs. That's why you bring in guys like that.
You make your money in the regular season, you earn it in the postseason. I think Duncan Keith's kind of been an example of that. The other thing I loved, that Jay Woodcroft putting together that Nugent Hopkins, Puljujarvi, Hyman line, they were unreal. They outshot the Flames at 5-on-5. They were buzzing. I think that was the best Puljujarvi's looked. Forget in the playoffs. That's the best Puljujarvi's probably looked in 3 months, in my opinion.
It's been a minute, but it's good to see, because that was the Bison King has returned.
Yeah.
Can we say that?
Yeah.
They need him. They need him too. Like having that.
I need more consistency.
I need a point or two.
I need more consistency still.
Well, yes, yeah. I'd like to see him get a point or two, but the fact that he was assertive and being aggressive on the forecheck, which was kind of his superpower of unlocking the potential of his line, that was good to see.
He still
because he was a
little
non-event.
skittish.
He was a non-event in the first 8 games of the playoffs.
Yeah.
He still looks like someone that's like, 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and he's like hurrying off because he doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah, but I think last game he brought the physicality more than he has in the first 8 playoff games as well. Like, I think there's something with him in playing with Nugent Hopkins and away from the 2 big guns. It's calming for him. It lets him kind of just play his game, and he's not always worried about, am I doing the right thing with 97-29 on the ice kind of thing, because that was great. And Zach Hyman, I mean, you talk about cap hits and not worrying about it or being worth your money. Zach Hyman might have earned that entire $5.5 million with that shorthanded goal alone in Game 2.
Honestly, I've preached this to Oilers Nation. The second that you guys got Zach Hyman, that you guys are going to love him. The way he protects the puck, how every shift he comes on and he goes balls to the wall. He's so blue collar. And honest to God, he does. I'm going to say that. And he just always tries to create chances. And honestly, if that's the moment you get from Zach Hyman in the playoffs to kind of switch the momentum for the Oilers, it's so freaking huge.
How good was Nuge, by the way? So much better in Game 2. Like, that's
Nuge
what
is
you
back.
needed.
We needed a lot of things from a lot of players, and it showed up in Game 2. But it's good to see Nuge be a factor. But maybe it's a factor of this line. Maybe Puljujarvi calms Nuge down.
I saw the whole reaction on social media, and it kind of made sense. It was like, oh wow, like that's what Nugent Hopkins looks like when you put him with better players.
It's good to see, and you know what I love about the whole Hyman thing is it's probably just driving Leafs fans crazy. They probably saw that game too, and they saw what Hyman brought to that game, and that probably just drives them nuts.
Which probably just drives them nuts having him play in round 2, period. Like, so, that's what it's like.
There's one word, Frank, that you said, hope. And I think that that's a big theme of what Game 2 was for the Oilers, because that game in enemy territory, to come back after a shaky start from a few individual players, shows such character, which is not easy to do when you're playing in Calgary. And this team fought back, and I really want to highlight Connor McDavid, because he is an
How do we make it this many minutes without
honestly, he is an absolute game changer of a player. And all this entire playoff, like between the Flames and then LA Kings, in obviously when they were playing the Kings, he has been on another level. And just watching him do certain things, I'm telling you, as someone who played high-level sport, you watch that, and it's hard not to want to get up to that level. And him individually, sets the tone for the Oilers.
He willed the Oilers back into that hockey game.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was unreal. Like, what's that stat that's been going around on Twitter? He's almost matched.
He has one more point now, 20 points, than Sidney Crosby had in an entire playoff run when he won the Conn Smythe.
Wow.
Like, that's nuts. I mean,
he's doing something that no one has done, and it's in a while. You know, you can take those stats from the 80s, and sometimes they flash those up. To me, it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
To take it from 6 years ago when Sidney Crosby won the Conn Smythe in 2016, same game, Crosby, one of the best players of all time, and you take that number and you blow it out of the water, and it's the 2 games of round 2. We're 8 games in.
Like, this might be hyperbole,
9
but
games in.
80s hockey versus hockey today is like converting Celsius to Fahrenheit.
I'm pretty good at that.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
you
really
are.
good. You're the
great.
human temperature converter.
Well, in 9 playoff games right now, he has 20 points, 6 goals, 14 assists. Like, that's
unreal.
Freaking
Not
real.
bad.
He's already playing at a level most days that everyone else can't get to. And when he takes it up a notch or 2 above that, it's
absolutely insane.
It's unstoppable, actually.
And that's what's given us a chance. Because, that was game 2 was an easy game for us to lose, given the start that we had. So easy to lose.
But that's why I picked the Oilers, though. I said if it comes down to a really tight series and it is game 7, I'm betting on Connor McDavid every time.
100%.
You know who else?
The question is, can they make it a long series? And that's really the concern. I said game 2 we'd learn a lot about the Oilers, and I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This game is going to be pivotal, I think, in terms of who's able to take that control in the series and then try and build off of it.
Well, and what have I said on every show, right? You're never in trouble till
Bet
you
the over?
Well, that too. Always bet the over, and you're never in trouble till you lose on home ice.
Yeah.
So for the Oilers, these next 2 games, like the Flames have lost on home ice. The ball's in the Oilers' court now. If they can keep the pedal to the floor and just hold up their end of the bargain, win the games at Rogers Place, you're winning this series if you just win your home
We
games.
now have home ice advantage, right?
Exactly.
That's the whole.
You make it sound really simple, though. Like
I do.
so
I
simple.
know. But
With Connor McDavid, it's simple.
Yeah, well, it
No.
can be.
I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm nervous as shit.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yes.
You need to make a shirt that says that.
Yeah, we got to be because
I
it used to be the whole moniker of Oilers Nation during the decade of darkness used to be sad since 07.
now we're what? Cautiously
Now we're
optimistic
cautiously
since
optimistic.
spring of 22.
since March, maybe early April of 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Another guy who picked up a point last game, Schmitty. And
Ah.
Schmitty was battling because that start, like, the fact that I'm looking back on that hockey game and going, hey, Mike Smith's a big reason they won after he gave up a goal from the blue line that was, like, on the ice early in that game. And again, like, I know the team in front of him wasn't good early, but Mike Smith could have stopped both those early goals. Like, they were not good goals to give up, but he bounced back and played great down the stretch for
Dude,
them.
I think that says so much about his mental toughness. Because it'd be easy to fold in Calgary after making a couple mistakes like that. And then, like, shaky moments. He had shaky moments where I'm like, what are you doing? And then, you watch the end of the game, or by the end of the game, you're like, Smith held it together. He did an unbelievable job.
You know what he's been able to do? He's been able to change the narrative because now heading into game 3, everyone's talking about Jacob Markstrom.
Oh,
Yes.
are
His
they?
inability to basically stop a puck against the Oilers. He has an .878 save percentage against the Oilers this season. Against everyone else, he's one of the best goalies in the league.
Vezina finalist.
Yes.
Yeah, and so now the question isn't so much about Smith, because I think if, even a true Oiler fan, if not cautiously optimistic, might be nervous about Mike Smith and getting a blow-up game like you would in game 1. That might happen again at some point in the series, because that's just the fact of the matter with Smith and his game. But with Markstrom, now the question is, can he keep the Flames in it? Can he even give the Flames a chance with his track record of just playing against the Oilers this year? It's bananas how bad he's been.
Well, ever since he joined the Flames, his save percentage as a Flame against the Oilers is .884 in 13 games. Like that, it's weird how this guy has been one of the best goalies in the NHL, but yet the Oilers have his number. And usually, I don't believe in like.
Yeah, I'm not a big believer in splits against
Yeah.
certain teams, because a lot of times NHL coaches actually start goalies. If you have 2 guys that are pretty close, they start goalies based on who has the historical numbers against that team. Who's better?
Yeah.
And in this case, the Flames obviously are not going down that path, but I just think it becomes an interesting storyline especially if you get another game like like game 2 or even game 1. Like I thought at a certain point they should have pulled Jacob Markstrom in game 1.
Yeah.
As they were blowing the lead. But I think the message from Daryl Sutter was this guy's bailed you out all season long.
Yeah.
It's your turn to bail him out now.
Yeah, it's not like the team in front of them, like after those first 10 minutes of the game, whatever, were playing that great. Like we were creating some dangerous chances and converting.
Right now in the Oilers Nation Facebook chat, a lot of people are concerned about Darnell Nurse. They say, obviously we know Darnell Nurse is playing with an injury, better in game 2 than he was in game 1. But do we have concerns around him?
I just want everyone to know, I saw Darnell Nurse driving yesterday, and he looked great.
He was shoulder checking fine, apparently, right?
He kept it in his lane. He was driving at a very respectable speed. Exactly.
Yeah.
No one was in danger, and it just looked great, and he looked happy.
That's what matters, right?
I like this comment from Bassam because it's something I actually wrote about the other day at Oilers Nation. I think maybe there's something to be said. Moving Nurse down the lineup a little might make sense. I think if you were to go Kulak and Ceci as the top pairing, you would have no concerns there. That duo can be your shutdown pairing. Tonight, you have last change. You can staple him to Gaudreau and hopefully shut down that Flames top line and give Nurse some easier minutes. He has a ton of experience playing with Barrie. He'd be comfortable playing with Barrie. Those two know each other well. You could give him more offensive zone starts. Again, last change, pick his matchups a little bit, and just give him a couple games here where I know his minutes haven't been high at all in the series, but give him easier minutes in offensive zone starts, things like that. And Kulak and Ceci.
There are any easy minutes in the playoffs.
Well, no. I know, but
and
Kulak and Ceci could take a tough matchup.
Yeah, you're right. But if you're looking at the overall hierarchy of the minutes, he already is a bit further down in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
So they've kind of taken a lot off his plate. He's not playing any power play. I know he hasn't for a while. But they've taken a lot off of Draisaitl's plate too.
Yeah, they have.
No shorthanded time. And
yeah, he basically
he was the guy serving the penalty the other day because they're like, we know we're not using him. Stops and starts are going to kill Leon. So they've tried, I think, and I actually asked Jay Woodcroft about that a couple days ago. What kind of challenges does that present for you as a coach when you have these type of impact players that can't play, and they've had to find creative solutions to try and put these guys in the best spot possible given what they're dealing with.
Frank, I have a question for you. You've been in this obviously hockey insider for God knows how long, and one of the best.
Years.
I'm going to put him in the hot seat right now. Sutter versus Woodcroft. Oilers Nation has to give credit to Woodcroft for what he's done getting the Oilers into the playoffs. But do you think there could be a concern at a point in time in this series where the Oilers might get outcoached by a coach like Sutter?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Jay Woodcroft has a really good handle on his team. And, one thing that he said this morning at the morning skate that I thought was really interesting was he was asked about Ryan McLeod. And he said, I've been with Ryan McLeod since he played his first professional game in Bakersfield, and it was also in a playoff game. And he said, I know everything about his game. I know what makes him work. He has the history with these players that, first off, he's been around in a lot of different situations as an assistant.
Right.
And even just going back to his days as a video coach in Detroit, and he's seen a lot of things, been around a lot of top coaches that have made adjustments game to game and in series. And he knows this group. There's a couple new guys that he wouldn't be as familiar with, but for the most part, he's worked with Connor McDavid for a long time and worked with Leon Draisaitl and has been here, as an assistant previously to know the ins and outs of it. That I think rookie, yes, in this spot, leading a team, being the guy that everyone's looking to for answers. It's a different environment for him, a different situation, but I don't think there's any danger of that in terms of being outcoached with the way that he's shown himself to this point. What I really like from him has been his confidence.
Yeah.
I think he exudes it. He doesn't mince words. He's not someone that you leave wondering what he's feeling or thinking. He's straightforward, a straight shooter, and what you see is what you get. And I think the real interesting part when you mention Sutter is to see how this team responds in game 3, because I think he had a real opportunity after the blown lead to go back to them and say, wake up.
Yeah.
And that's what I think you mentioned, cautiously optimistic. That's what I think you might want to be nervous about is the mindset of the Flames, who absolutely dominated in game 1, to come back with a way better effort in Game 3.
That was actually going to be my next question to you, was from someone who's watching this game as a third-party observer here. What kind of effort are you expecting from the Flames tonight? Because I don't think, like, the Oilers can, the way they played in the last 40 minutes of Game 2, that's probably pretty close to, like, the peak Oilers. But that was far from the peak Flames in the last 40 minutes. They've
played kind of unlike themselves since the first period of Game 1. Daryl Sutter mentioned it today, actually, in his availability, that, what do you need to do in this series? And he said 12 even strength scoring chances against in Game 1. He said it was almost as perfect as you could play. Yeah. And so that's been his messages. They utterly dominated at even strength, and now you get back to that in Game 3. I just don't. I think the Oilers managed it really, really well in Game 2. I just have questions and concerns about whether they can continue to do it game after game, because even as perfect as the Oilers played for a large stretch of it, they were still tied going into the third period, and they don't have the. I've been saying this forever with the Oilers, and you've heard me say it on our show. They don't have the ability to give stuff away. You can't spot a team a 3-1 lead.
But we love doing it so much.
I know, but you can't. It's not a recipe for success.
We love track meets.
It's at some point it's going to come back and bite you.
Yep.
They got away with some of the mistakes they made against the Kings, and now Calgary's a bigger test. And you can't do that all the time.
Yeah, if you want to spot the Flames a 3-1 lead every game in this series, it's probably ending in 5 or 6 games and not in a direction that we wanted to. So you're right. Like the starts, it's maddening for us as people who watch this team 82 games a year every season, because it's
7 out of 9 playoff games.
Well, we go under McClellan, they were terrible starters. Under Hitchcock, they were terrible starters. Under Tippett, they were terrible starters. And still under Woodcroft, like, they're terrible starters. It's insanity.
I don't have an answer, though.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
No
I don't
one
think
does.
Jay Woodcroft has an answer. I don't know what the players think. Like, at some point, it becomes part of their identity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's such a damning statement.
That's a hard pill to swallow for me, and I'm just here. Yeah, it's like a new Oilers fan for you, I'm sure. Let's talk about Evan Bouchard, because I think he's made some errors, missed some assignments on the ice. He's had questionable moments, but scored a very, very big goal for the Oilers. That classic Bouch bomb that everyone likes to talk about. Hopefully that kind of contributes to his confidence moving forward, and we see Bouchard getting better and better.
Yeah, he just needs to figure out his defensive game a little bit.
Yep.
There was, especially early in that game, he was on the ice. Was he on the ice for both those goals against?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he was. Like, he had a rough start.
Some ugly moments.
Yeah. So, and who's he paired with now?
Still with Keith.
Keith. Okay. So Keith, hopefully, if we still have time machine Keith, he can help insulate that a little bit. But we need our boy Bouch to. Yes, we love the offensive side of his game. Anytime he winds up for a slap shot, it is very exciting. Everyone is immediately thinking Bouch bomb. T-shirt coming soon. But
better hurry up.
we've had the design. I don't know why
we're also supposed to have a Schmitty Battles shirt going.
I know. Okay, Kennedy, if you're watching, I know
she is. She's been very active in the Twitch
Kennedy,
chat.
She's the best.
Bouch bomb, let's go.
She's the best.
And show me the next. You did a Schmitty shirt, so show me what that looks like as well.
Frank, a lot of hellos for you in the Facebook chat.
Hello.
Everyone's happy to have you here.
Awesome to be in Edmonton. Great to be actually in an NHL venue tonight.
Ooh, there you
Have you
go.
had
Look
a
at Frank
doner?
getting in on the BOA chirps.
Have you had a donair yet?
I have not. See, we've talked about this. I have a gluten allergy, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of but I said I would. If you take me to the best donair spot, I will do it.
We gotcha.
Why doesn't Nation start making gluten-free donairs?
We gotcha.
There's
You're gonna find a
That's an
gluten-free
idea.
pita. Well, you can also just open it up and just use the pita as a bowl and eat it like a donair salad.
Oh, and when I
this is
did
where-
that, you guys ripped me.
Yeah, but you don't have a gluten allergy.
Fair enough. All right.
So
Tyler
yes.
also drinks lukewarm water.
Yes, yeah. Tyler, well, yeah, last night Tyler tried some things, didn't he?
Yeah, I
you
tried
try?
that.
We got him a little wine.
A little
Right.
wine, just a baby amount.
Tyler's
of red
back
wine.
on the red wines. Everyone will be happy to know.
Work him back into it.
I was properly worked into the red wine.
Yeah,
this time.
you
Yeah,
actually drank it as you should, by
at a-
sipping on it
Yeah.
and kind of savoring it
With
as
a good
opposed
meal.
to guzzling it.
Chugging
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Not a beer. Can't drink it like a beer.
Do we do lines?
Yeah, let's get into the Yegberger
Go ahead,
lineup
Tyler.
report. For the Oilers, it's going to be no changes tonight. I got that earlier today. Came across through the Twitterverse. I'm not surprised by that. Maybe I think there's still something that could be said. Like Archibald and Cassian barely played last game.
I think Cassian's dealing with a little something.
Oh, really?
Seems like he's a little banged up. I saw him at the morning skate again, testing it. I think he's going to play, but That would be the one spot that I would look, would be maybe trying to shuffle someone in for Josh Archibald. But
who do you put in?
I would put in.
I would go 11 and 7.
Dylan Holloway.
Really?
Yeah, I would think about. I just think you need some speed. Like that's the big thing. And that's another reason why I would go Broberg on the back end. Like I thought it was interesting that Russell was out, and I kind of figured Russell would be out for game 2, but I would have gone still 11 and 7 and put Broberg in, just because you can't absorb the forecheck. You can only try and outskate it. Like you can't. That's really the Oilers' issue, is some of the speed on their back end. You know, especially with someone like Bouchard, for instance. Like I know that foot speed is not really his thing. I just wish there was some more urgency, for instance, things like that. And Broberg, yeah, big spot to try and put someone in. But his skating ability is what stands out, and I think would give the Oilers a little bit of a boost.
The Twitch chat is loving that you're on the Dylan Holloway hype train, but Davinsky says, it's too risky. What would you say to the people?
The risk?
Putting a rookie into his first NHL game in the playoffs? I think it's fine.
And then you just limit his minutes, I guess.
Yeah, if he's no good, you cut him down. And, I mean, to be fair, Archibald and Cassian have done next to nothing. So anything that
it's such a
might get
high-pressure situation for a rookie, though. But
sometimes that's when you find out about players too. That's when you get a boost. Like who at any point when the Dallas Stars were in the Edmonton bubble here knew anything about Joel Kiviranta? I'm just not saying he's gonna be that guy, but the point is he has talent. The Oilers clearly really like him in Holloway,
and he's physical, right? He does throw his weight.
He's got a little meat. Like I don't think he's like. It's not like you're throwing a frail 159-pound player into your lineup. Like he's got a little bit of heft to him, and you're like, all right, let's see what we got. Like, I mean, this is when you find out.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he does have playoff experience with the Oilers. It was just with the Okotoks Oilers.
Oh, I see what you did there.
There you go. For the Flames, I don't think they're making any lineup changes today either. I think, Frank, do you know if there's anything going on with the Flames?
I think the only question mark would be Tanev, but I would think that he's still out.
Is he still out? Because that's a big deal for us, because that allows us to expose the D. That's the only guy who can maybe answer to Connor McDavid, maybe, and like mildly answer.
He at some point I would think he's going to get back, given how it seemed like he was progressing before the series started. And I actually asked Darryl Sutter this morning about Michael Stone. I just think he's been such a big part of the Flames and what they've done in these playoffs. With Stone, even as they go 11 and 7. When Tanev was in, he was excellent. Finds a shot from the point. Got a big goal in this series already. Yeah. And from the Flames' perspective, without Tanev, he's been able to just play in that 6th spot that's been super reliable. So I think he's actually been a pretty key piece for Calgary's entire playoff run.
And looking at who would, if they went back to 11 and 7, let's say Tanev was healthy, I don't think you can take out a guy like Brett Ritchie. I mean, he's found the back of the net. Like, he's been playing good. So, it'll be interesting to see if
Callie Yarncrook.
He's actually been good and plays a huge role in their power play.
I know, but I just wanted to.
Yeah, you just wanted to say that name?
But has he been...
I don't know who they would take out here. Like, I look at the Flames' bottom 6, and kind of all these guys have had their moments in this
series.
Take out
Rasmus Anderson. That guy's a bum. That's just hate from an Oilers fan. That's all.
Yeah. Should we talk a little betting?
Yeah, do bet of the game. I also want to know how you guys have been surviving with your bet of the games. Have you been gaining money, losing money? How are you doing?
Been doing okay, actually.
Yeah,
Oilers won the series, the first series. We made a bunch of bets within that, and they won more games than their foe. So up. Pops have been crushing. Game 1 of round 2, lost my shirt. Mm-hmm. And obviously,
that's why you have one on from 2016.
Yeah, well,
that's a great shirt.
I went to the crypts of the Nation Gear Rubbermaid container in my basement, and I pulled this BOA shirt from a party we threw in 2016.
Stained, but it's still a vibe.
It tells a story.
Vintage tees, vintage tees need to make a comeback.
Yeah,
I like the vintage swag that you guys have.
I wanted to bring that energy.
Vintage gear is it doesn't fit anymore.
It is a good like measuring stick to put on old clothes. See how it rolls.
So speaking of the betting, Oilers are dogs in this hockey game. Barely.
Minor.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta do Bart. Frank, welcome to the show.
That's a Cleveland Browns thing right there.
Dog pound, baby.
So there's still minus money on the money line. I'm kind of
adjusted the over under though. The total is now 7.
7.
Yeah.
You've got to think an under is coming. I've been preaching unders almost every game, and it's not happened.
It's happened in almost every other series. Almost every game in every other series this round has been under.
I know, but like for the Oilers to win, does it have to be high scoring? Like it better not be.
Well, if
You'd
it's
like
low
them.
scoring, it's probably in Calgary's favor.
Yeah. Connor McDavid. I mean, betting on this guy.
It's not even you can't even bet him over 1.5 because the odds are so bad now.
So McDavid over 1.5 points is minus 161.
That's disgusting.
That's absolutely insane. McDavid over 2.5 points plus 220.
You got to chase the juice, but still, that's like McDavid's. It's tough to bet him. What?
Yeah.
Maybe bet on him to score because I believe in that. Maybe bet on his shots.
McDavid to score tonight plus 100, pretty much even money. I think that's an okay spot.
That's okay.
Even though his shot prop now over 3.5 shots is minus 200. Like that's ridiculous.
They got to adjust the prop.
Yeah, it needs to go up to 4.5.
Yeah. Juice.
McDavid to pick up 1 assist tonight minus 357. That's crazy. Over 1.5 assists though, plus 135. Not a terrible spot there.
Actually, that's a good place.
Yeah.
McDavid to get 2 assists, I think, is really good.
My bet though, the Zach Hyman shot prop has been killing it recently. I think that's
Zach
really
Hyman
good.
is just on another planet
Another
right now.
level. Yeah, and Zach Hyman to score tonight. He's got a goal in each of the first 2 games of the series. It's plus 220 again.
Yeah, that's juicy. The fact it starts the 2. So I'll definitely be sprinkling a little bit on Hyman. I am going to reach. I was with Bearded Brad, and he was telling me a story about why he was picking Duncan Keith to score last game.
He bet on Duncan.
I go on.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I go into my book, and they didn't have Duncan Keith available. I was going to do it. He got him at plus 1,000.
Yeah, because he opened up a pack of hockey cards earlier in the day and got a Duncan Keith and was like, "That's an omen," and then he bet on it.
You see what I mean about signs? There's such thing about signs.
100%.
We haven't talked about today, and has been a total non-factor in the series. Evander Kane.
That was gonna be. I'm betting on him to score tonight. I think Evander Kane's gonna have a bounce
He's
back.
got to come at some
Plus
point.
160
He
to
was
score.
What are
horrific.
the odds that Milan Lucic outscores Evander Kane in the series? Because Lucic has had a few moments that I just thought the dome was going to erupt in games 1 and 2.
They love him down there. Yeah.
Well, they love him, but more than that, he's actually played pretty well, and
Yeah.
I just thought it was a gratuitous, sort of unnecessary shot to take when you haven't been good yourself.
Oh yeah, the Kane chirp to Luch. Yeah.
Well, maybe he's trying to do it to motivate himself. I expect him to show up at some point because he was dominating games against LA.
I could see him scoring tonight.
The whole thing with
He
Lucha drives
hasn't
me.
been good since this, so just not saying. just
Oh
saying.
wow, just hitting us with the facts.
When he did that to the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liam,
When
quickly.
Connor clearly did not like that either.
I don't know. Okay.
That's not his MO, man.
I know.
No, I know.
that's
Job's not
McDavid's
done.
style. Job's not done. Liam, what are you betting on tonight? What do you like?
Okay. If we can't bet on McDavid, then we need to bet on Draisaitl. Draisaitl is plus 140 to get 2 points, and he's had 3 points in both games this series. So
I
just
think
go
that's
to
a
the
good
other
spot.
side.
Oh, I like
so
that.
player points, yeah, you're looking at Draisaitl plus 130, plus 140 range, go over 1.5. I hit it in game 1, so I was fired up about that. I mean, he's riding shotgun with McDavid, and here's the other thing.
He whiffed on 5 amazing opportunities in game.
I know, and he's getting better.
He is.
He's getting better.
I think he's just learning to live with it.
He's learning, yeah, exactly. And that's what. Once he's comfortable with that, then he'll start smashing those
Whole lot of,
1-2s.
Chemicals that they've been shooting up in there, pharmaceuticals.
You know, you gotta just send Leon Draisaitl a shit ton of respect for him gutting through what he's gutting through and still
Nurse, too.
contributing.
Yep.
And Nurse, yeah. And like I said, they both look better in game 2. So hopefully, they can progress. I know, the dream scenario would be somehow to win this series in 5 and let them rest a bit. But
That's probably not
that's
happening.
probably not going to happen.
But just on the topic of Draisaitl as well and that point prop, the Oilers' power play, it scored finally last game. They went 1 for 6. I think we're due for a game where this power play goes 2 for 4, 2 for 5, and finds a way to jam a couple in. It's coming. This power play, we've seen it throughout the regular season. When it's cold, it is not cold for long. They eventually have a statement game.
They just need to adjust. Calgary's very aggressive on the PK, but that also opens up opportunity if you're fine with that.
Caroline's cracking a window. It is hot in here.
Sweating.
It's a
I feel like
4-person
I'm in a
pregame.
infrared sauna right now.
Well, this is BOA. It's a BOA pregame.
I think
It is
that's what
hot
it
in
is.
here.
We're all nervous for game 3.
You mentioned the power play, and one big topic of conversation at the morning skate this morning was about how a lot of this series so far has been played at 4-on-4 because the refs. There's been so many skirmishes after the whistle. The refs have not been willing to take pull one guy out and give the other team the power play. They've just been saying, all right, you're both going. And that's been Daryl Sutter was kind of complaining about it. It's been such an advantage for the Oilers.
4-on-4s are superpower.
Yeah, and the actual quote from Johnny Gaudreau this morning was, they have a lot more skilled team than us. And I thought that was an interesting admission. I think we all probably believe that that's the case, even though they also had 2 100-point scorers.
Yeah, they got skill.
But he said it. They're trying to, throw that out there into the universe. Stop playing at 4-on-4. It's almost like if you're the Oilers, you grab someone anytime you can get, thinking like, hey, we're in a spot here where 4-on-4 our team's money.
Yeah, whenever it goes to 4, and shorthanded. Whenever it goes to 4-on-4, I have the same feeling as the Oilers getting a power play, because I'm like, if 97 and 29 are rested, haven't been on the ice for a few minutes, and you throw them out there,
the last thing, if you're the opposing team, you want to give McDavid is space.
Yeah,
and 4-on-4 gives him space. It's great.
What do you guys think of Draisaitl's KFC comment? Because that's blowing up the Facebook chat right now.
Oh yeah, I saw people making jokes about that. I thought it was funny. It shows that they're loose, they're a little relaxed, right?
I loved it.
Interesting question.
Very interesting question.
Well, we all and we know what the K stood for, obviously, right? His hometown.
Oh really?
Of course. Well, that's my guess. Cologne?
I thought Cologne was spelled with a C.
Yeah, but in Germany they spell it Koln.
Really?
With a couple dots over the O.
Ah.
See, that's a world traveler.
Yeah.
A guy who's been places.
But also, when the Oilers played the Cologne Sharks, you saw that it was spelled anyway.
I don't remember the preseason game they
You
played
just
against
remember,
the Cologne Sharks.
yeah, but you just
5 years
remember
ago?
the Corsi 4 from that game.
Jake says, good T-shirt design for Oilers Nation, something with KFC. That's actually a good idea.
Ooh,
Or something with
okay.
Cologne for
Yeah,
Draisaitl.
that's actually a really
The king
good
of
idea.
Cologne with the K.
Now you're talking.
Kennedy?
Oilers
You
Nation,
better be
man.
watching. This is a good
Dial it in.
brainstorming
It is.
session. We're
It
just
really
throwing
is.
stuff on the wall, and it sounds like it's sticking. I love it.
We doing keys to the game?
Yeah, let's wrap it up with our Yegburger keys to the game. Frank, I know you said you want a donair, but maybe a little Yegburgers in your future
Oh, we
as
got to
well.
take it to Yegburger.
Edmonton's
I'm down for
finest.
that.
Yeah, Frank needs to try it. It is definitely the best burger in Edmonton.
Absolutely. All right, keys to the game. Who's going first?
I'm going simple.
Okay.
Score first.
That's literally mine.
Just score first. Oilers, that is.
Same thing. Start hard, start fast, score first, and eliminate stupid mistakes if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the power play. I kind of touched on it there. I think there's going to be a game in this series where you look at it and go, man, their power play won them that hockey game with 2 or 3 goals. And I think tonight's got to be that night. The Flames are going to come back with a much better effort at 5-on-5. You know they're not going to be that bad on back-to-back games, much like we kind of knew the Oilers wouldn't be that bad on back-to-back games. So you're going to get a good response from the Flames at 5-on-5. You need to hammer them when you get your opportunities with the man advantage. I think that's a massive key. Frank, if the Oilers are going to win this game, what is one thing you think they need to do well?
Be clean handling the forecheck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whether it's they did a lot of flipping the puck out to the neutral zone and letting the forwards run under it. Keith made some sublime plays, just poking it out of harm's way, squibbing it up the boards, whatever it was. He was great, and that's more of what they need because the Flames' forecheck is ferocious. It's difficult to handle at even strength. I don't think it suits the Oilers' game well, and they've really struggled against teams like that all season long, and they found a better way to counteract it. Jay Woodcroft said this morning that he thinks it's because of how well their forwards worked back and played. I don't know that it's necessarily that. I think a lot of it just has to do with how well their defensemen manage it and handle that pressure. They need the pressure relief valves, and if they can find it, I don't have any issue or concerns about the Oilers forwards being able to keep up.
There you go.
Nice. Game 3, guys. Game
All
3.
right.
Crazy. 6 p.m. start
6
time.
p.m.
On a
early.
long
Thank
weekend.
goodness.
On the long weekend,
I love
too.
it.
The Moss Pit's going to be rolling. It's a beautiful
Down-
day in Edmonton.
yeah.
You know, people have just been sitting around getting hyped up for the
Edmonton's-
game already.
Well lubed.
Edmonton is on fire. Well, Dog Patch is right below us. It is rammed.
Bumping.
Full of
We're about to go
excitement,
get a
full of
run.
Oilers hats, jerseys, car flags. The energy is high. I expect tonight, Oilers come out, they pull off a win. Edmonton is going to be on fire, and
I can't wait. I love seeing, what is it? What do you guys call it? The convoy? Like the Oilers convoy?
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
One of the
With
coolest
Miguel.
things I've ever
Yes.
seen was
Oh.
that game against the Ducks in that wild and it was like 8-5 game in
Yeah,
that
the
series.
Draisaitl hat trick, yeah.
Draisaitl hat trick. It was actually my birthday that day.
Oh.
happy
I was
birthday.
here, and just the scene out. It was also an afternoon.
It was
game.
an early game, yeah.
And the scene outside of the arena as that convoy was rolling through, horns honking, people out of their cars, flags everywhere. It was bananas in this town.
Well, hopefully you can see that tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we get a repeat of it.
I say this every time Calgary plays that.
Like, you want to fight someone?
No, could you imagine?
I couldn't.
Guys, I would not win that.
Maybe
I would not win that one.
Maybe that's what gets Evander Kane
That's
back
what I
in.
want.
Maybe.
He needs to drop the gloves. He needs to
Like
drop the gloves.
he's obviously like hunting for it in the scrum a little bit, and obviously there's some gamesmanship in terms of words being said between both sides. So
Do you
maybe
need some money?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
One of
surprised.
the great all-time chirps.
Did you see that? Did you see that one video of the Calgary fan throwing money
Over the
onto the
bench?
Oilers bench?
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
it's
brutal.
Yeah.
Good times.
Just don't throw any toonies, though.
Those hurt.
All right, guys, this has been your Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford, and enjoy Game 3.